The year was 2150, and Earth was a shining example of human progress. Cities gleamed with clean energy, and people lived in harmony with nature. Humans had spread to the Moon and Mars, building thriving colonies that showed the best of what humanity could do. On a quiet Tuesday morning, Sarah Chen, a young scientist on Mars, looked up at the red sky. She smiled, thinking about how far humans had come. Little did she know that everything was about to change. Suddenly, the ground shook. Sarah ran to her lab's window and gasped. Strange ships filled the sky, their dark shapes blocking out the sun. These were not human ships. They were something else entirely. Back on Earth, in the United Nations Space Command Center, alarms blared. General Michael Rodriguez rushed to the main control room. "Report," he shouted. A young officer, her face pale, turned to him. "Sir, we're under attack. Unknown ships have appeared over Mars and the Moon. They're destroying everything." The room fell silent. Then chaos erupted as everyone tried to understand what was happening. Screens lit up with images of destruction. The alien ships, now identified as belonging to a race called the Zorgax, fired strange energy weapons. Human buildings crumbled like sandcastles. On Mars, Sarah ran through the halls of the research base, everyone to the shelters. She yelled. The ground shook again, and part of the ceiling collapsed. Sarah helped a fallen colleague up, determination in her eyes. They would survive this. They had to. As hours passed, the situation grew worse. The Moon colony, humanity's pride and joy, fell silent. Mars sent desperate calls for help. Earth's leaders watched in horror as years of progress were wiped out in moments. President Amelia Jackson stood before the emergency meeting of world leaders. Her voice shook but remained strong. "We must stand united. Humanity has faced challenges before, and we've always come out stronger. We will not let this be our end." The leaders agreed. Earth's combined space fleet launched, racing to help their people on Mars and the Moon. But they were too late. The Zorgax ships were too powerful, too advanced. Earth's brave pilots fought hard, but their ships were swatted away like flies. In the depths of space, another group watched the unfolding drama. The Galactic Council, a collection of alien races that govern much of the galaxy, saw the attack on the humans. Many council members argued they should help Earth. "They are a young species," said Excel, a wise old alien. "It is our duty to protect them." But others disagreed. "Humans are primitive," sneered Vox, a Zorgax representative. "They are unworthy of our help." The debate raged on, but in the end, the council decided to do nothing. They would watch and wait. Back on Earth, as the terrible news spread, something remarkable happened. Instead of falling into despair, humans came together. In every city, every country, people offered help and comfort to each other. Scientists worked around the clock to understand the alien technology. Engineers started designing new defenses. Sarah, who had managed to escape Mars on one of the last ships, now stood in a crowded New York lab. Her eyes were tired, but a fire burned in them. "We will find a way," she said to her team. "Humanity isn't finished yet." General Rodriguez, coordinating Earth's defenses, felt a mix of pride and worry. The aliens were strong, but he had seen the determination in his people's eyes. "We've been knocked down," he told his officers, "but we're not out. Not by a long shot." As the first day of the attack ended, Earth was battered but not broken. The Zorgax had struck hard, destroying the colonies and defeating Earth's space fleet. But they had made a grave mistake. They had underestimated humanity's greatest strength, the ability to unite and fight back against impossible odds. President Jackson addressed the world one last time that night. "Today we faced our darkest hour," she said, her voice reaching every corner of the globe. "But remember this, darkness is always followed by dawn. And when that dawn comes, we will be ready. We are humanity, and we will prevail." As her words echoed across the planet, millions of humans looked up at the stars. The Zorgax had started this fight, but humanity would finish it. The galaxy was about to learn a powerful lesson. Never underestimate the human spirit. 1 week after the Zorgax attack, Earth was still reeling. The loss of the Moon and Mars colonies left a deep wound in humanity's heart. But the people of Earth were not ready to give up. In the rebuilt United Nations building in New York, world leaders gathered. The room was tense. President Amelia Jackson stood at the front, her face showing the strain of sleepless nights. "We have a plan," she said, her voice strong despite her exhaustion. "We will appeal to the Galactic Council for help." The room erupted in discussion. Some leaders agreed, while others doubted. "Why would they help us now?" asked the Chinese premier, his brow furrowed with worry. General Rodriguez stepped forward. "Because they must see that this attack was wrong. If they stand for justice in this galaxy, they cannot ignore us." After hours of debate, the decision was made. Earth would send a message to the Galactic Council. Sarah Chen, the scientist who escaped Mars, was chosen to help craft the message. She worked with a team of Earth's best minds to create a plea that would move even alien hearts. As they worked, Earth's defenses were not idle. Every day, new innovations were made. Old weapons were improved. Humanity's creativity flourished under pressure. Finally, the message was ready. It was sent using technology reverse-engineered from a damaged Zorgax ship. The people of Earth held their breath, waiting for a response. Days passed. The silence from the stars was deafening. Then finally, a response came. The Galactic Council would hear Earth's plea. They would allow one human representative to speak before them. The choice of who to send was easy. Sarah Chen, with her brilliant mind and first-hand experience of the attack, was the perfect choice. As Sarah prepared for her journey, Earth watched and hoped. In every city, people gathered in squares, looking up at giant screens. They were about to see humanity's first official contact with the galactic community. Sarah's ship, a hastily upgraded human vessel, approached the massive space station where the Galactic Council met. Her heart raced as she saw the variety of alien ships docked there. This was it, humanity's big moment. Inside the council chamber, Sarah felt small. Aliens of all shapes and sizes filled the room. Some looked almost human, others were beyond her wildest imagination. The head of the council, a tall, elegant alien named Zara, spoke. "Human, state your case." Sarah took a deep breath and began. She spoke of Earth's peaceful intentions, of the brutal and unprovoked Zorgax attack. She showed images of the destruction, of brave humans fighting to save others. "We come to you not just for help," Sarah said, her voice clear and strong, "but for justice. The Zorgax attacked us without reason. They destroyed our colonies, killed our people. If the Galactic Council stands for peace, it must stand with Earth." As she spoke, Sarah could see some council members nodding. Others looked uncertain. The Zorgax representative, Vox, sneered. When Sarah finished, there was a moment of silence. Then Vox stood up. "The human speaks well," he said, his voice oily. "But let us be honest. Humans are a primitive species. They are not ready for the galactic community." The attack, regrettable as it was necessary to keep them in their place. Sarah's face flushed with anger, but she held her tongue. She had said her piece. Now it was up to the council. The debate raged for hours. Some council members supported Earth, moved by Sarah's words. Others sided with the Zorgax, seeing humans as a potential threat if allowed to advance. Finally, Zara called for order. The council had reached a decision. "We have heard the human plea," Zara announced, "and we have decided that this is not a matter for council intervention. The dispute between Earth and the Zorgax must be resolved between them." Sarah's heart sank. This couldn't be happening. But the attack was unprovoked. She protested. Millions died. Zara's eyes were cold. "The decision is final. This council recognizes the sovereignty of advanced races to manage their own affairs. Humans are, regrettably, not yet considered advanced enough for full protection under council law. As Sarah was escorted out, her mind raced. This wasn't just a rejection. It was a dismissal of humanity's very worth. Back on Earth, the news hit like a hammer blow. Anger and disbelief spread across the globe. They had hoped for justice, for help. Instead, they got a cold shoulder from the galaxy. But as the initial shock wore off, something else took its place. Determination, rage, a burning desire to prove the council wrong. In labs and factories across the world, work doubled, then tripled. If the galaxy wouldn't help them, humans would help themselves. President Jackson addressed the world again. "The council has made their choice," she said, her eyes flashing. "Now we make ours. We will defend ourselves. We will survive. And we will show the galaxy exactly what humanity is capable of." As her words echoed across Earth, a new fire was lit in human hearts. The Galactic Council thought they were primitive. The Zorgax thought they could be kept in their place. It was time to prove them all wrong. The rejection from the Galactic Council hit Earth hard. But humans were not a species to give up easily. In secret labs and hidden facilities around the world, a new plan was taking shape. Dr. Emily Sato, a brilliant physicist, stood in front of a group of the world's top scientists. Her eyes gleamed with determination. "We have been underestimated," she said, her voice firm. "But that will be their mistake. We will use every bit of knowledge we have, every scrap of alien tech we've gathered, to defend our world." The room buzzed with energy. These were the brightest minds Earth had to offer, and they were ready for the challenge. In a secure facility deep under the Rocky Mountains, Sarah Chen worked tirelessly. She and her team had been tasked with reverse engineering the Zorgax technology from the wreckage of their ships. "Look at this," Sarah said, holding up a small glowing device. "Their energy source. It's like nothing we've ever seen before." Her colleague, Dr. Rajesh Patel, nodded excitedly. "If we can understand this, we could revolutionize our power systems. Our ships could go faster, our weapons could hit harder." Day and night, they worked. Progress was slow at first, but human determination knew no bounds. Bit by bit, the alien technology began to give up its secrets. Meanwhile, in a repurposed car factory in Detroit, a different kind of innovation was taking place. General Rodriguez watched as the first prototype of Earth's new defense system took shape. "It's a combination of our tech and theirs," explained Chief Engineer Maria Lopes. "We've integrated the Zorgax energy weapons into our own designs. It's not pretty, but it packs one hell of a punch." The general smiled grimly. "Pretty isn't what we need right now. We need effective." As weeks turned into months, Earth's transformation continued. Old rivalries between nations were set aside. The entire planet worked together with a single goal: survival. In orbit, the remains of Earth's space fleet were being rebuilt and upgraded. Captain John Jung floated in zero gravity, inspecting the new additions to his ship. "How's she looking, Captain?" came a voice over his radio. John ran his hand along a sleek new weapon mount. "She's a beauty, Control. The old girl's got some new tricks up her sleeve." But it wasn't just military technology that was advancing. In universities and research centers, breakthroughs were happening in medicine, agriculture, and environmental science. Humanity was determined to not just survive, but thrive. Dr. Amina Okafor, a Nigerian biotechnologist, made a startling discovery. "We've done it," she announced to her team. "By combining our gene editing techniques with what we've learned from the Zorgax biology, we can enhance human resistance to their weapons." The news spread like wildfire. Volunteers lined up to be part of the first human enhancement programs. It was risky, but the alternative, extinction, was unthinkable. As Earth prepared, they also watched. Stealthy probes were sent out, gathering information on the Zorgax and the wider galaxy. Knowledge, they knew, would be key to their survival. One day, at a global defense meeting, Sarah Chen stood up to give a report. The room fell silent, all eyes on the woman who had faced the Galactic Council. "We've made incredible progress," she began. "Our ships are faster, our weapons stronger. We've improved our shields, our communication systems, even our bodies. But more importantly, we've done something the Zorgax and the Council never expected." She paused, looking around the room. "We've innovated. We haven't just copied their tech. We've improved it, made it our own. In some areas, we've even surpassed it." A murmur of excitement ran through the crowd. President Jackson leaned forward. "Are you saying what I think you're saying, Dr. Chen?" Sarah nodded, a fierce pride in her eyes. "Yes, Madam President. We're ready. Earth can defend itself. And more than that, we can fight back." The room erupted in cheers. It had been a long, hard road, but humanity had done the impossible. They had taken the best the galaxy had to offer and made it better. As the meeting concluded, General Rodriguez approached Sarah. "You've done amazing work, Doctor. All of you have. But are you sure we're ready? The Zorgax are still out there, and they're not going to be happy when they realize what we've done." Sarah met his gaze steadily. "We're as ready as we'll ever be, General. And remember, we have one advantage they don't." "What's that?" the general asked. Sarah smiled, a glint of steel in her eyes. "They still think we're primitive. They have no idea what's coming." As night fell over Earth, lights burned in labs and factories. Ships were prepped, weapons were loaded. In homes around the world, families hugged each other tight, knowing that soon everything would change. Humanity had been pushed to the brink. Now, they were pushing back. The galaxy was about to learn a valuable lesson. Never underestimate human ingenuity. The day Earth had been preparing for finally arrived. In orbit, Earth's new fleet hung silent and ready. On the ground, defense systems hummed with power. The entire planet held its breath, waiting for the signal. In the Global Defense Command Center, President Jackson stood with General Rodriguez and Dr. Sarah Chen. They watched as red dots appeared on the big screen. The Zorgax fleet, returning to finish what they had started. "They're here," General Rodriguez said grimly. President Jackson nodded. "Then it's time. Give the order, General." Rodriguez pressed a button on his console. "All units, this is Sierra Actual. Operation Prometheus is a go. I repeat, Prometheus is a go." Across Earth, in ships and bunkers, men and women sprang into action. This was the moment they had trained for. In space, Captain John Jung sat in the command chair of the EDS Defiant, Earth's new flagship. "All hands, battle stations," he ordered. "Let's show these aliens what humanity can do." The Zorgax fleet approached, confident in their superiority. Their leader, Admiral Kraz, sneered at the human ships on his view screen. "Pathetic," he growled. "Destroy them all." But as the Zorgax opened fire, something unexpected happened. Their energy beams splashed harmlessly against the human ship shields. On the Defiant, cheers erupted. "Shields holding at 95%, reported the tactical officer. "Sir, the Zorgax weapons, they're barely scratching us." Captain Zhang allowed himself a small smile. "Well then, let's return the favor. All ships, open fire." Earth's fleet unleashed a barrage that lit up space. Beams of energy, more powerful than anything the Zorgax had seen before, sliced through their ships. Admiral Kraz stared in disbelief as his fleet started to crumble. "Impossible," he roared. "How can these primitives?" His words were cut off as the Defiant's main cannon fired, cutting his ship in half. Back on Earth, in the command center, Sarah Chen watched the battle unfold with a mix of pride and awe. "It's working," she breathed. "Everything we've done, it's actually working." General Rodriguez nodded, his eyes never leaving the screen. "Phase 1 is successful. Now for Phase 2. Dr. Chen, are your teams ready?" Sarah straightened up. "Yes, sir. Strike teams are prepped and waiting for your go. President Jackson turned to them both. You've done your part. Now it's time for mine. She stepped up to a communication station. This is President Jackson. To all galactic civilizations monitoring this frequency, Earth is under attack, and we are defending ourselves. We call on the Galactic Council to witness the unprovoked aggression of the Zorgax and our justified response. As her message went out across the stars, Earth's counterattack entered its next phase. From the victorious fleet, smaller ships detached and sped towards the remaining Zorgax vessels. These were Earth's new boarding craft, carrying elite teams of enhanced soldiers. They latched onto the alien ships, cutting through hulls with advanced tools. Inside one such ship, Major Elena Vasquez led her team through alien corridors. "Remember your training," she said. "We're here to capture, not destroy. Earth needs their tech and their data." The fighting was fierce, but the humans had surprise on their side. The Zorgax, used to easy victories, found themselves outmatched by Earth's enhanced soldiers. Hour by hour, ship by ship, the tide turned. The mighty Zorgax armada, which had brought terror to countless worlds, was being systematically taken apart by the very primitives they had dismissed. In the Galactic Council chambers, pandemonium reigned. Alien representatives argued and shouted as they watched the battle unfold. "This is unprecedented," yelled one counselor. "How could the humans have advanced so quickly?" Zara, the head of the council, sat in stunned silence. She had dismissed the humans, and now they were rewriting the balance of power in the galaxy. As the last Zorgax ship fell silent, a cheer went up across Earth. In cities and towns, people poured into the streets, hugging and crying with joy. In the command center, President Jackson turned to her team. "This is a great victory," she said, "but it's only the beginning. General, prepare the fleet. Dr. Chen, I need all the data we've captured. It's time to take the fight to the Zorgax homeworld." Sarah and Rodriguez exchanged glances. They had won the battle, but the war was far from over. Still, for the first time since the attack, hope burned bright. As Earth celebrated and prepared for the next phase, news of the human victory spread across the galaxy. On 1,000 worlds, in 1,000,000 alien hearts, a new emotion stirred. Fear. The primitives were primitive no longer. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, and nothing would ever be the same again. As Earth's fleet pushed deeper into Zorgax territory, they uncovered secrets that would shake the foundations of galactic politics. On the bridge of the EDS Defiant, Captain John Jong studied a star map. Red dots showed conquered Zorgax worlds, steadily giving way to the blue of liberated planets. "Captain," called out his communications officer, "we're receiving a transmission from a planet in the Arcturus system. They're cheering for us." Zhang raised an eyebrow. "Patch it through." The main screen lit up with the image of alien beings, tentacled and blue-skinned. Their leader spoke in a melodious voice, translated by the ship's computers. "Brave humans, we thank you. The Zorgax enslaved our world decades ago. You have freed us." Similar messages poured in from other worlds as Earth's fleet advanced. The Zorgax, it seemed, had been bullies on a galactic scale. Back on Earth, in a high-security lab, Dr. Sarah Chen pored over data stolen from Zorgax ships. Her eyes widened as she decrypted a particularly secure file. "This can't be right," she muttered, double-checking her work. But the evidence was clear. She grabbed her comm device. "Get me the President and General Rodriguez." Now, hours later, in a secure briefing room, Sarah stood before Earth's leaders. Her face was grim. "What we've uncovered is disturbing," she began. "The Zorgax attack on Earth wasn't just random aggression. It was sanctioned by members of the Galactic Council." Gasps filled the room. President Jackson leaned forward. "Explain." Sarah tapped her tablet, projecting images onto the room's main screen. "These are communications between Zorgax leaders and several council members. They show that at least 3 council races encouraged the attack on Earth. General Rodriguez's face darkened. Why? What could they gain from our destruction? Resources, Sarah replied. Earth is rich in rare elements. But more than that, they feared us. She brought up more data. Look at these projections. They're estimates of human technological progress. These council races saw our potential. They wanted to stop us before we could challenge them. The room erupted in angry mutters. President Jackson raised a hand for silence. Do we know which council members were involved? Sarah nodded. The Vexer, the Krith, and the Galactic Council leader, Zara. Shock rippled through the room. Zara, who had dismissed Earth's plea for help, had been behind their near destruction all along. As the implications sank in, a junior officer burst into the room. Madam President, we're receiving a priority transmission from the Zorgax homeworld. All eyes turned to the main screen as it flickered to life. The face that appeared was Zorgax, but unlike any they'd seen before. This one looked older, wearier. People of Earth, the alien began. I am Xanthor, true leader of the Zorgax people. The one you knew as Admiral Kraz was a usurper, a warmonger who led many of our people astray. Xanthor's eyes, all 6 of them, looked pained. We were once a peaceful race, until Kraz and his followers took control. Many of us opposed him, but we were silenced. Your victories have given us the chance to reclaim our society. The room was dead silent as Xanthor continued. We seek peace and offer our aid in exposing the corruption within the Galactic Council. In return, we ask for your help in rebuilding our worlds and our honor. As the transmission ended, the room burst into frantic discussion. President Jackson turned to her advisors. Thoughts? General Rodriguez spoke first. It could be a trap, or it could be the key to lasting peace, countered a diplomat. Sarah Chen stepped forward. There's one more thing. She brought up a final piece of data. This suggests that Earth wasn't the Zorgax's first target. They've been attacking emerging civilizations for centuries, all at the Council's behest. President Jackson's eyes hardened. So the Council keeps potential rivals down by making the Zorgax do their dirty work. And now we've upset their whole system. She stood, her decision made. Contact Xanthor. Tell him we accept his offer. And get me a direct line to the Galactic Council. It's time they answered for their crimes. As orders were given and ships redeployed, the mood on Earth was a mix of anger and determination. They had entered this conflict as victims. Now, they would end it as liberators and peacekeepers. Across the galaxy, word spread of human victories and Zorgax atrocities. But more shocking was the news of the Council's betrayal. On 100 worlds, populations demanded answers from their leaders. The galaxy was changing, and at the heart of that change stood humanity, no longer dismissible, no longer ignorable. The Galactic Council had wanted to keep humans in their place. Instead, they had created the very power they feared. As Earth prepared to confront the Council, one thing was clear. The age of human irrelevance was over. The era of human galactic leadership was about to begin. The massive Earth fleet hung in space near the Galactic Council's headquarters. At its center, the EDS Defiant stood ready, carrying Earth's leaders to this historic confrontation. Inside the ship, President Jackson straightened her uniform. "Are we ready?" she asked. General Rodriguez nodded. "Our ships are in position. Dr. Chen's evidence is prepared. And," he paused, allowing himself a small smile, "we have a few surprises ready, just in case." "Let's hope we don't need them," Jackson replied. She turned to Dr. Sarah Chen. "You're sure about this data?" Sarah nodded firmly. "Every bit of it is verified, Madam President. The Council can't deny it." "Then let's go make history," Jackson said. The Earth delegation, flanked by enhanced human soldiers, marched into the Council chambers. Alien representatives from 100 worlds watched in a mix of awe and fear. At the center of the chamber stood Zara, the council leader. Her usual calm was gone, replaced by barely hidden panic. "Humans," she began, her voice shaky, "your presence here is unprecedented. We demand." "You demand nothing." President Jackson cut her off. Her voice rang through the chamber. "We are here to expose the truth and deliver an ultimatum." Murmurs ran through the alien delegates. Zara's eyes narrowed. "What truth? What ultimatum?" Jackson nodded to Sarah, who stepped forward with her datapad. "The truth about your conspiracy against Earth and other emerging civilizations." Images and documents flashed on the chamber screens. Communications between Zara and the Zorgax. Plans to attack Earth. Lists of other worlds targeted over the centuries. "For too long," Jackson continued, "this council has manipulated galactic events for its own benefit. You've kept emerging races down, used the Zorgax as your attack dogs, all to maintain your power." The chamber erupted in shouts and arguments. Some council members looked shocked, others guilty. Zara tried to speak, but Jackson's voice rose above the din. "We have liberated dozens of worlds from Zorgax control, worlds you allowed to suffer. We have made peace with the true Zorgax leadership, exposing your puppet government." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Humanity came to you for help, and you dismissed us as primitive. Now we stand here, having defeated your strongest enforcer." General Rodriguez stepped forward. "We could destroy this station with a single command. We could dismantle your corrupt council by force." Gasps echoed through the chamber. Zara's face paled. "But that's not why we're here," Jackson said. "We're here to offer a choice." Sarah activated a holographic display, showing a new galactic structure. Auction 1. The Council reforms. Earth joins as a full member. All subjugated worlds are freed and given representation. The Zorgax are rehabilitated under joint supervision. She switched the display. Option 2. We expose your crimes to every world in the galaxy. We use our new alliances to form an alternative governance structure. Your council becomes irrelevant. The chamber was silent now, every alien eye fixed on the human delegation. "You have 1 galactic standard hour to decide," Jackson finished. As the Earth delegation stepped back, chaos erupted in the chamber. Council races argued fiercely, some demanding resistance, others pushing for acceptance. Outside, Captain Zhang received a transmission on the Defiant. "Sir, we're picking up ship movements. Several council races are mobilizing their fleets." Zhang smiled grimly. "Right on schedule. Activate Protocol Omega." Across the galaxy, hidden human ships suddenly appeared near key council worlds. On the Defiant's screen, green lights winked on, showing each ship in position. Inside the council chamber, urgent messages reached the various representatives. Their home defenses had been bypassed. Their worlds were vulnerable. As the hour neared its end, Zora approached the human delegation, her arrogance replaced by resignation. We accept your terms," she said quietly. President Jackson nodded. "Wise choice. Let's begin the reform immediately." As news spread across the galaxy, celebrations erupted on countless worlds. The age of council corruption was over. A new era of galactic cooperation, with humanity at its heart, was about to begin. On Earth, crowds gathered in cities worldwide, watching the events unfold on massive screens. Cheers echoed as the Council's acceptance was announced. In the Council chamber, as the details of the new galactic structure were hammered out, an alien representative approached Dr. Chen. "How?" he asked simply. "How did you advance so quickly?" Sarah smiled. "You tried to keep us down. Instead, you gave us the ultimate motivation to reach the stars. Never underestimate human determination." As the new galactic alliance took shape, with Earth as a key member, the galaxy watched in awe. The primitives had become pioneers. The dismissed had become leaders. Humanity had not just reached the stars. They had reshaped the very nature of galactic civilization. 5 years had passed since the dramatic confrontation at the Galactic Council chambers. The galaxy had changed in ways few could have imagined, with humanity at the center of it all. On a bustling space station orbiting Earth, representatives from 100 worlds gathered for the annual Galactic Alliance Summit. The station, a marvel of human and alien engineering, symbolized the new era of cooperation. Sarah Chen, now Earth's ambassador to the Alliance, stood at a large window, watching ships of all shapes and sizes dock at the station. The voice behind her made her turn. "Quite a view, isn't it?" said Xanthor, the Zorgax leader. Once enemies, humans and Zorgax now worked closely as allies. Sarah smiled. "Sometimes I still can't believe how far we've come." Their conversation was interrupted by a young human aide. "Ambassador, President Jackson is ready to begin the opening ceremony." In the Grand Assembly Hall, President Amelia Jackson took the stage. Age had added some gray to her hair, but her eyes still shone with the same determination. "Friends, allies, honored representatives," she began, her voice carried to every corner of the galaxy through advanced translation systems. 5 years ago, we stood on the brink of destruction. Today, we stand united, stronger than ever. Cheers erupted from the assembled delegates. Jackson continued, "The Galactic Alliance has brought peace to conflict zones. Shared technology has solved resource crises on dozen worlds, and our combined scientific efforts have pushed the boundaries of knowledge." She gestured to a group of aliens in the front row. "The formerly subjugated races, now free, have become some of our most valuable partners. The Arcturus system, once enslaved by the old Zorgax regime, now leads our efforts in sustainable energy." Jackson's voice grew serious. "But our work is not done. There are still challenges to face, mysteries to unravel, and frontiers to explore." As if on cue, the hall's main screen lit up with a transmission from the EDS Defiant, now on a deep space exploration mission. Captain John Junk's face appeared. "Madam President, honored delegates," he said, excitement clear in his voice. "We've made contact with a new civilization at the edge of the galaxy. They're called the Luminary, and they're eager to join our alliance." A ripple of excitement passed through the hall. New contacts were always cause for celebration in the alliance. Jackson smiled. "Thank you, Captain. This is wonderful news. Please extend our warmest welcome to the Luminary." As the transmission ended, Jackson addressed the hall again. "This is what we stand for: exploration, discovery, and peaceful expansion of our community." She paused, her gaze sweeping the room. "But let us never forget the lessons of our past. The old council fell because it chose fear over hope, suppression over cooperation. We must always strive to be better." In the audience, General Rodriguez, now head of the Alliance's peacekeeping force, nodded in agreement. Beside him, a former council member looked on with a mix of awe and regret. Jackson's voice rose for her final points. "Humanity's journey to the stars was born from curiosity, driven by necessity, and tested by fire. But it was our spirit, our unwillingness to give up, our drive to innovate, our capacity for forgiveness, and our hope for a better future that truly propelled us." She spread her arms wide. "That spirit now infuses our alliance. Together, we have turned a galaxy of conflict into a galaxy of cooperation. We have proven that diversity is not a weakness, but our greatest strength." As Jackson finished her speech, the hall erupted in a standing ovation. Aliens of all shapes and sizes cheered, their differences forgotten in the shared vision of a brighter future. Later, as the summit continued with discussions and debates, Sarah found herself again at the window. General Rodriguez joined her. "Penny for your thoughts, Ambassador," he asked. Sarah smiled. "I was just thinking about that day when the Zorgax first attacked. We thought it was the end. Instead, it was just the beginning." Rodriguez nodded. "Humanity was always capable of this. We just needed the right push. As they watched the Earth slowly rotate below them, Sarah couldn't help but feel proud. Humanity had not just survived, they had thrived. They had taken their place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as leaders and peacemakers. The galaxy had underestimated humanity. It was a mistake no one would make again. For in reaching for the stars, humanity had not only found its place in the cosmos, but had reshaped the very fabric of galactic society. The future, bright and full of promise, stretched out before them, a future where the human spirit would continue to inspire, innovate, and lead the way to new frontiers.